Welcome back to another episode of the Stack Bitcoin Show, your beginner-friendly guide to saving in Bitcoin. Can you guys see it yet? I'm trying to grow a mustache, guys. It's the worst mustache I've ever seen. But my kids talk me into it. It feels like my face is dirty. Yeah, you gotta try to grow a mustache once in your life, I guess. Anyway, I'm not sure how long I can take it. But we're gonna keep trying to grow this mustache out. I'm gonna get like the little... Welcome back, guys, to the Stack Bitcoin Show. Today we're gonna do what we do every day here, Monday through Friday. We are gonna buy a little bit of Bitcoin and talk about life and talk about the things we do to stack another sat. And of course, why we make the sacrifice additional effort to save in Bitcoin and how that serves you better than any other way of saving. All right, so let's kick things off with the first segment of the show, and that is the Bitcoin strength. Bitcoin strength. Today, the price of Bitcoin is $79,914.93. You can buy 1,251 Satoshis for a single dollar. You might be asking yourself, what the heck is a Satoshi? I don't know about this stuff. Well, a Satoshi is a fraction of a Bitcoin. It's the smallest denomination of a Bitcoin so far, or right now. Just like a dollar has 100 pennies, a Bitcoin is made up of 100 million Satoshis. So it's a dollar is 0.00, right? A Bitcoin is 0 dot and then 8 zeros in a row. So 0.0000000. So the smallest denomination of Bitcoin you can have is called a Satoshi. In the dollar system, it's called the penny or a cent, right? Why am I wasting time talking about this? Well, because it's important for you to understand that when you see the price of $79,000, it doesn't mean you have to go spend $79,000 that you don't have, right? You don't have to buy a whole Bitcoin all at once. You can buy it in fractions, and those fractions are called Satoshis, okay? Today, like I said earlier, you can buy 1,251 fractions of a Bitcoin for one single dollar. So, although it might seem like Bitcoin is out of your grasp and unattainable, it is still very attainable. If you start with just 10 bucks, 20 bucks, 100 bucks, that money, the value that money used to represent is now in a different system, is now in the Bitcoin system, where it is free of inflation and monetary debasement. Because unlike the regular dollar or the peso or the euro, where the government can print more of that money and in so doing debase the purchasing power of your savings, Bitcoin is set up so that it's capped at 21 million and it will not debase your savings. So not only will you be shielded from inflation by saving in Bitcoin, but you will have an asset, which is Bitcoin, that will appreciate faster than the inflation of the debasement of your local currency. So depending on what country you're in, if you're in a country with a third world or secondary monetary system, like anything other than the dollar, you're probably getting debased even faster, right? But if you're in the dollar system, you're still getting debased, but it's not as fast as being debased in like pesos or in other secondary currencies, right? Anyway, you can still use those currencies because, of course, your day-to-day life evolves using those currencies, but your savings will do a lot better if you just save in Bitcoin instead of saving in your local currency, right? Just like in some countries, they say, like, for example, Mexico, some people save in dollars because they know that the dollar is stronger than the peso. Well, it's like another level beyond that. People that are in the United States should save in Bitcoin because Bitcoin is like way a bigger level jump than going from peso to dollars, than going from dollars to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a way bigger jump. And anyway, let's keep the show rolling. Today, if you spend a single dollar, you'll be able to get 1,251 Satoshis. If you spend a single penny, 1 cent, you can buy about 12 Satoshis. So it's very affordable, still very attainable. And most people in the whole entire world don't even have 0.01 Bitcoin, guys. So 0.01 Bitcoin today is about $8,000. So if you can save about $8,000 in Bitcoin, you're way ahead of the pack. You're way ahead of the game, way ahead of most companies, way ahead of most people. It's crazy. All right, that is the Bitcoin strength. Bitcoin strength. There it is. Hope you guys are doing well. Do me a favor, hit that like button on the way in and say hello in the chat so I can shout you out like Mr. Derry Duke. Round of applause from the live studio audience. Go, bro. Keep stacking. Thank you for the encouragement and the support and for just jumping in, dude. Jumping in here and putting one single comment is really motivational for me, and it helps me continue to stack. I'm gonna continue to stack anyway, but it helps me to see that the show is actually being watched and appreciated by some people. Even if it gives you a little bit of extra motivation to keep stacking your stack, a little extra motivation to do the extra thing to get the little extra stack. So I hope this show helps you as much as I think it does people that don't even comment. So if you're watching the show, if you're a lurker, you can still be a lurker, but at least hit that subscribe and at least hit that like. Anyway, let's jump into the next topic of the show. It's a reoccurring topic here. We like to call this Why We Stack. It's like the orange pill version of the show. It's like the orange pilling segment of the show. I am the doctor, and I have just subscribed to you, or prescribed to you, the Bitcoin orange pill. I'm going to read to you guys the prescription and the warning label. Take 1 tablet daily. Individuals with very deep-rooted misconceptions of very basic monetary system principles. Dosage may be increased to 2 tablets. Warning, the side effects may include drastic shifts in time preference and sudden onset enthusiasm for peer-to-peer networks. Some users experience a reduction of trust for traditional financial institutions and an increased tendency to stack sats to save in Bitcoin. There it is, straight up. What else to say? That's it. That's it. You can get this stuff, these little cool Bitcoin trinkets at Toshi.fun. Toshi.fun is part of Pleb Lab. Anyway, but in all seriousness, why do we save in Bitcoin? We save in Bitcoin because saving in Bitcoin is like traveling back in time and giving yourself a perpetually increasing retroactive raise for the hours you've already worked for as long as you hold the Bitcoin that represents those hours. When you don't save in Bitcoin, and when you save in dollars, or when you save in pesos, or when you save in euros, or yuan, or whatever currency you save in, when you save in anything other than Bitcoin, anything that is a monetary issued money, it's like traveling back in time and giving yourself a continuously decreasing or a continually increasing pay cut for the hours you've already worked for as long as you're saving in fiat, right? Because that's the way debasement works. If only $100 exists in the whole world and you hold $10, you have 10% of the world's money. You have 10% of the purchasing power of that system. If I then go and print another if I go then and print another $100, I have debased you by half of your savings, because now your $10 only represents 5% of the economy. So when that very simple concept, when the government prints money, you lose purchasing power. So take the money you have now that you want to save for long term, 4 years minimum, put it into Bitcoin, and then it becomes separate and aside from that inflationary process where they steal your wealth, the continual tax of your savings without you even knowing them. Yeah, when you look at your bank account, it's still going to show you have your $10, in a system that is now grown to $200. Now you've been debased 50% of your savings because the purchasing power of your $10 now only represents 5% of the monetary system. And then they double it from there. They go from $200 in the monetary system. They print another $200. Now there's $400 in the system. So they've debased you again, and now your $10 they used to represent 10% of the system. They used to represent 5% of the system. Now only represents 2.5% of the system. And so you've been debased even further. So it's a continual debasement, right? And your job is still paying you $1 an hour or whatever, 50 cents an hour, which for just to make it fit with this example, right? And as the money is getting debased, you are not getting a raise at your job, or you're not making that much more in your business to justify to counteract that rate of inflation that is debasing you, right? So if you're not making at least 10% more year over year on your investments, on your salary at your business, you're losing money. You're getting poorer. Your purchasing power is reducing, so therefore you're becoming less wealthy, right? It's pretty wild. So that's why we save in Bitcoin, guys. Straight up, that's why we save in Bitcoin, because we understand that having that value that we earned outside of the monetary system, outside of the traditional monetary system, makes our savings grow in time and acquire more purchasing power. And you'll see some examples of that here coming up. So I'm not just talking the talk. We walk the walk here on the show. But first, let me take a minute to say what's up and thank you for tuning in to Mr. Aaron. Chee! What up, Aaron? Thanks for tuning in. Also for ABW, welcome back. Hope all is well, sir. Hope all is well. Let's throw a little background music here while I talk about random stuff. Actually, no, we're ready. I think we're ready to jump into the next topic, guys. Let's jump into, yeah, let's do this part. Stack recap, because we don't only talk about stacking Bitcoin here Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 5 p.m. Eastern. We actually do it. We do it. Oops, let me switch the screen over here. There it is. In 2025, so far we've saved $2,860 into Bitcoin. We've accumulated 3.1 million Satoshis. Remember, guys, Satoshis is just a way of saying Bitcoin in a different way. For example, if I can have $1, or I can have 100 pennies, right? Just whichever way you want to say it easier. Like, it wouldn't make sense for me to say I have $0.5 when I could just say I need 50 cents, right? I could just say I have 50 cents, or I could say I have 10 cents. No, let's do even more a better example. I can say I have 5 cents, or I can say I have $0.05. Okay, same thing is happening here. We have 0.03161920 Bitcoin, or we just move the decimal point over 8 spaces and say we have 3,161,920 Satoshis. The formula is pretty straightforward, guys. It's just here, I'll show you the formula. It's just moving the decimal point over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 spaces. Okay, so that is the difference between Satoshi and a Bitcoin. Sats, even though we're using SAT here, it's not a different ticker. The ticker is the same for Satoshis and for Bitcoin. It's just the way you would want to display it on your device. Okay, the Bitcoin always has to be, the Bitcoin ticker is always BTC. Okay, even if it's a fraction of a Bitcoin, it's still always going to be BTC. Okay, all right, let's keep it going. So we are down about 11% for the year so far for 2025. For 2024, we're still up about 33%. Okay. And for the whole lifespan of the show, let me move this down a little bit, guys. We are at about 52% in profits And we don't take profits, of course, on the show. We just kind of we're holding on to it because we understand what Bitcoin is, and it's the scarcest thing you can own. And what would we be trading it for? Money? For melting ice cubes? No thanks. Awesome. Good to hear that, ABW. Michael Coleman in the house. What up, dude? Thanks for tuning in. Let me check out your comment. Thanks for the work you put into the show. BTC is a weapon of the people to fight the creatures of Jekyll Island. Let's go. Michael knows what's up. I can tell. Thanks for tuning in, Michael. I appreciate you showing up and taking the opportunity to actually comment. So it's very helpful, and I appreciate your comment, dude. All right. So there it is. This is our proof of stack. We've been stacking since May 22nd, 2023. Next month will be our 2-year anniversary, and we're already in profits, guys. Remember, the idea here was to hold it for at least 4 years, because when you look at Bitcoin, anybody that holds Bitcoin for about 4 years is in the black or in the green, or whichever way you want to say it. They're in the positive. They're in profits, right? So I know that I'm not going to sell it after the 4-year term, but just as a way for you to understand it and start to get into it, that should be your plan going forward. That should be your the first goal. Once you've held it for 4 years and you realize that it's performed better than any of your other investments, any of your asset classes that you're holding, with the least headaches, with the least taxes, like property tax, insurance, repairs, right? With the least leakage of all of your assets, with the least management fees of all of your assets. If you're holding the real Bitcoin and you're managing your own wallet, it's the best way to save value for the long term and as long as you need it, right? So once you start seeing that, you're gonna think to yourself, shoot, I'm gonna start moving more of my savings into Bitcoin because it just makes more sense. Why would I hold anything else that's underperforming Bitcoin when I see what Bitcoin has done? Your only regret is gonna be not stacking harder when you had the chance here at, where are we at? At 79,000. At 79,000. Do you remember when Bitcoin hit 109,000 and you told yourself, God dang it, dude, I should have bought more when it was at 80. Well, here we are at 79,000, and are you buying more? I am. You do what you need to do to educate yourself and make that decision for yourself, because you're the one actually hitting buy. But for me, for the show, we're going to continue to buy. And today, since the price of Bitcoin is below our average buy price for 2025, we're going to do at least a double stack, which is $40. Let's go down and see what the lowest purchase price we have so far this year. And if it's lower, we're going to buy a quadruple stack. So let me just get this thing cleared out, because this is no longer the cheapest one we've had. It is actually this one, 76,000. Oh, no, that's going to be hard to beat. That's going to be hard to beat, I think. Is it this one? Yeah. So our lowest purchase price for 2025 is 76,000. 914. It's definitely lower than the price is now. So today we're just gonna do a double stack. Okay, $40 worth of Bitcoin. I'm about to make the purchase right now, live during the stream, to show you how easy it is. It's not that hard. If I can run the show, semi-entertain you guys, and DJ the show while I'm purchasing Bitcoin, you can surely do it without all of these distractions, without having to talk to you guys and be trying to be entertaining. Okay, so now that we know how much Bitcoin we're gonna buy, there's only one thing left to do, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to buy some Bitcoin. Here we go. Time to stack some Bitcoin. Let's roll. All right, going back to the big screen here. Let's see. I'm opening up the Strike app, because right now we're buying all of our Bitcoin purchases. Right now are being done on Strike. Hit buy. Boom. I key in $40. 40. All right. I hit next. There it is. I asked the live studio band to cut the music. Drum roll, please. And confirm on a $40 purchase of Bitcoin today at the price we deserve today. And that price is, let's see. Just like that, we've accumulated an additional 49,630 Satoshis to the stack. Let's go to the 2025 spreadsheet and add this purchase. Who else besides Michael has read The Creature from Jekyll Island? That creature must be slayed. Okay, the price of Bitcoin we deserve today is 79,830 and 75-cent Bitcoin. That is the price of Bitcoin we deserve today. We bought $40 worth. And the yield from that purchase just now is 0.0004963. 49,630 Satoshis have been added to the stack. Bam. I'm going to take this information and copy it over to our spreadsheet for the whole show. Our proof of stack sheet. Look at that. Jeez. That's a lot of green. Yeah, we're getting to the red, but soon enough, that'll be in green. Bam. Okay, there it is. Add it to the stack, and our final total for today after today's purchase is. Oh, come on, let's get up there. 35.736291 Bitcoin. Dang. Okay. What does that do for us? What does that do for us on the When Moon Jimbo, the consensualist website? If we're holding 0.357369291 Bitcoin right now, and we want to retire making $100,000 a year and just selling Bitcoin and living off your Bitcoin, you can retire by 2028. Well, the show, the Stack Bitcoin show can retire by 2028. Not bad at all. Earlier this week, we did a bunch of experimenting with this calculator, and it's for entertainment purposes only, guys. Okay. But we did the calculation where we incremented the amount of Bitcoin per. I think we incremented it we incremented it by 0.001 Bitcoin, which at the time was about 77 cents. No, $77. $77. Now 0.01 Bitcoin is about $79. Okay, but we did all the mathing, and we came up with the stat that says if for every, in this case, since we're at 79,000, for every 79 cents that you stack, that you save, based on the calculations on the When Moon website, you bring yourself 1 hour closer to your moon day, 1 hour closer to being financially free. For every, I think it's for every 0.01 Bitcoin, no, for every 0.001 Bitcoin, you bring yourself 4 days closer. 4 days closer. Is 0.001 700 or let me check something, guys. I need to check this. Oops, where is it? There it is. Yeah. 0.001 times 79,000. Yeah, for every $79 right now, you bring yourself about 4 days closer to your retirement date. If that's not motivation to stack, you must be dead inside. I was kidding. If that's not giving you motivation to figure out a way to earn an extra 79 cents an hour, right? For every 79 cents you stack in Bitcoin, you're going to be able to retire 1 hour earlier. For every $79 that you save right now in Bitcoin, you're going to be able to retire about 4 days earlier, right? So that's like buying your life, dude. That's like buying like buying your future time right now. Your savings in Bitcoin are buying you your future time off. It's pretty cool. Anyway, I wanted to leave you guys with that thought once again, because it's a really good perspective on it. It's a really good way to think of it. All right. Let's jump into the Q&A section of the show. If you have any questions, do put it in the chat. If not, no worries. We'll catch you guys on the next one. But yeah, the mustache is making progress. Soon I'll be a super villain. Soon I'll be a super villain tying maidens to a train track and wearing a top hat and maybe a monocle. But yeah, it's doing good. I gained some weight over the past couple of months because I've just been eating like an undisciplined maniac, and I got back on my keto diet that I did a long time ago. I got back on it a couple of days ago. This is my third day of of not having sugar, not having carbs, rice, tortillas, bread, and man, I'm starting to feel it. But I'll keep you guys updated on my weight. If you guys get motivated, you guys want to lose some weight with me. When I started a couple days ago, I was at 187 pounds. That's in pounds, and I think right now I'm at 185. No, 182. 182 as of yesterday when I weighed myself. 182. I haven't weighed myself today, but maybe we'll start including that update in the show just here in this section, so we can have something to talk about, and maybe you get motivated to lose a little weight if you're a little bit overweight, and just be part of the community, I guess, right? So I'm still doing jiu-jitsu. I've been doing like once or twice a week. I'm trying to get back on the 3 days a week schedule, so that should also help with a little bit of weight loss. But anyway, that is all I got for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the Stack Bitcoin Show. Let me kick on the music that signals the end of the show. Hope you guys continue to find the motivation and the determination to continue to stack Bitcoin, and of course, to orange pill your friends and family. I know it's difficult to convince people, and it's something that maybe you don't want to do. But if you don't want to go and convince people to stack, and they're important in your life, maybe you can start a little side stack for them, right? Or if you want them to learn about Bitcoin and you don't want to take the time to explain it to them, invite them to watch the show, right? Send me a message and say, hey, I'm bringing my Aunt Sally and she needs to know about Bitcoin. Can you convince her, or can you talk to her about it? I'll talk to her about it on the show live. I'll orange pill her live during the show. Your auntie, your brother, your cousin, your sister, your mom, your brother, your father, right? Anybody, bring them to the show. I'll do my best attempt to orange pill them live during the stream. And because sometimes your loved ones don't want to hear it from you, they want to hear it from somebody else, right? Because for whatever reason, okay? But anyway, I hope you guys have a great rest of the day. I'll see you guys tomorrow for another episode of the Stack Bitcoin Show. But until then, remember, if you ain't stacking, you're slacking. Later, guys.